to do the book assignment. I have a link on here. It says library book assignment instructions. And so get a book from the library. You've done that. It should be related to your research topic, and you are to follow the classroom instructions on how to get that book. I want you to read only 20 pages. You don't have to read the whole book. Just read 20 pages from the book, and it should be the 20 pages where your artwork is or the era of your artwork is. It doesn't have, don't just do the first 20 pages because that's all like introduction and stuff. So skim through the book, find the part of the book that's most relevant to your topic and read those 20 pages. As you read, I want you to take notes. And as you take notes on when you read, I want you to take note of what page in the book that these notes are coming from. So today I'm going to share some tips on how to take notes for the book assignment and the article summary assignment. So in a typical 20-page article, this is the amount of notes that I will have on that. Now remember, this is from when I was in graduate school, so I read a lot of articles for graduate school. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages of notes, pretty much because I'm a slow reader, and also I'll get to the end of a page and not remember what I've read. So I really had to take meticulous notes when I was in grad school. You take notes that are right for you. Some people can remember stuff. They don't need to take a lot of notes. Some people need to take meticulous notes like me. So you do what works for you. There are some things that I want you to have in your notes when you do them as well. So I want to show those things. What I do in my notes is that I'll have the title of either the article or the book way up at the top, and then I abbreviate it so that I don't have to spend as much time writing the notes. Like likeness of no one was the name of the article, and so I shortened it to Lono. Likeness of no one is the first letter of each word, and so in each of those I just shortened it. Another thing that I did, I use different colors for different articles. So in your notes, you might do this later on in college so that you can keep things separate. But I had to read a lot of articles, like I said. So in order to not get confused about where one article ends and the next one begins, I would write in a different color ink. So I had a bunch of different color inks. I used blue and red and pink and green and purple and black. That helped me keep things organized in my notes. Like I said, I put a header at the top that helps me keep things organized. Makes information easier to find later on when you need to use it in a research paper or an assignment. This is good tip for the rest of your college career. I want you to write down the numbers. So when you are reading through the book assignment or the article summary, I want you to write down the numbers where you found the information. So if you're reading along and you see something that's interesting that you would like to include in your project, write down the number, the page number that you got it from. This makes it easier to use for footnotes later on for your research papers and other classes, for the research project in this class. It's a good tip to use. When using an article and you're working from a PDF document, the the page number that you're working on is not this up here. This is just the number that it is in the PDF file. You are going to find the number of the page from the journal that this is from. So this is where you will be looking. Also, when you're reading through a book or when you are reading through an article, there are often subtitles. Write down those subtitles, and that helps you keep your notes organized. It helps make it easier to find later on when you are trying to find notes for footnotes. And then for articles, pay close attention to what the author's point of view is or what the author is trying to prove. Sometimes in articles it's easy, sometimes in articles it's very difficult, but if you find it, write it down. So in this article that I read, I wrote down when I found that the author was stating his purpose, I wrote it down and I wrote AU, which is short for author, with a circle around it. And then I put stars around it because in grad school they really wanted us to find the author's point of view. So I made sure that I wrote that down and it was easy to find later on. And then to speed up the process, I use abbreviations. So this was an article or a book that I was reading about Malevich that I had to write a book review on. And Malevich, the word Malevich was, used hundreds of times, and I didn't have to want to write Malevich over and over and over again. So I wrote an M with a circle around it. That was my little symbol for Malevich. Also, the book was about the artwork, The Black Square. And instead of writing Black Square over and over and over again, I drew a square with BS on the inside for as an abbreviation for Black Square. So abbreviations will help you speed up the process of taking notes. Then, when you are done reading your book, I want you to write a one-page summary of what you read. Basically, just tell me what you learned from the book. It's not formal, it's very casual. It's going to be a font size of 12, double spaced, and either Calibri or Times New Roman font. All right, now, and I said it's very casual, but we're going to put in a title, footnotes, and a bibliography on this. And I'll show you how that will look. So include notes of your photos when you turn it in. So at the end of your document, you're going to photograph your notes and copy paste them onto the last couple pages after the bibliography. And then you're going to upload that to Schoology as either a Word file or whatever Google does, like a Google Doc or whatever. All right, so these are the instructions. They're here in Schoology. Then we're going to go back to the Beast, and I have an example. It says book assignment example. Do not go by this for the preview right here. I want you to go and down here and click on book assignment example doc. Click on that. It'll bring up a Word document. And this is how I want it to look. Notice that in the header, you have Reese on one side and the number 1 on the other. If you look at it in the preview, it puts Reese and the 1 on the same side. So this preview messes up with the format of the Word document. So once again, do not go by what's in the display. Go all the way down and download the example. All right, so back to the example. You will have the title of your book, and you will write one page about what you learned. All right, now I put the footnotes in highlight just to show you where they are, because usually they're hard to find. You do not put your footnotes in highlight. All right, that's just to show you it's an easy place to see them. Here's how you will put a footnote in. You're going to go to references. You're going to go to insert footnote. So I'm going to find where I want to put in a footnote. Let's say this right here. I want to put in a footnote. I'm going to go to references. I'm going to say insert footnote. And it already numbers it, and it already puts it down here for me. All right, so I'm going to undo that. The first time you put a footnote, you use the author's name, the title, the publisher, and date and page number. Every time after that, it's just the author, and I shorten the title and the page number. All right. And then at the end, your bibliography is just the book that you got. All right. Now we are using Chicago style. Everything that's in history in college is done Chicago style. You guys are used to, is it APA style or AP style? Or what is the other kind? MLS? MLA. All right. MLA style. All right. In college, in history classes, use Chicago style. This is already set up as Chicago style. You can use this. You can download it and then write your own words on it. What's on here already, it's called lorem ipsum. It's just Latin gibberish. All right. So this doesn't say anything really. It just shows you how it's supposed to look. So your paper should look like this with the title, the header at the top. You're going to write your name instead of my name. So if you download this, you just have to click on my name and then type in your name. You click on this title and highlight it and type in your title. And then you can highlight all of this and then start typing your own stuff. It's already set up for Chicago style. All you have to do is put in your own words. All right. And so what should be footnoted is facts from the book that are not yours. All right. If you're talking about what you learned from the book, that's your own idea. But if you talk about something specific from the author, that needs to get footnoted. And the reason I'm asking you to do footnotes is so that, and I'm going to ask you to do footnotes with everything so that you get used to it. Right. And so by the time you leave this class and you go to another college class and they ask you to write a paper with footnotes, you can say, oh, that's easy. I did that for Mr. Reese. That's the main reason I'm making you guys do footnotes. Right. I'm going to try to do it in a painless way. So at first I'm doing all this work for you, and so that you can get used to it and you can take the skills you learn in this class and apply them to other college classes. Does that make sense? Does this seem easy? All right. Just read 20 pages, write what you learned from the 20 pages. The other thing that's not on here is you're going to have maybe 2 or 3 extra pages with photos of your artwork added onto this. So this is only a 2-page document. Yours that you turn in will be 3 or 4 or 5 pages, and the page 3, 4, and 5 will be photos of your notes. You're going to upload that to Schoology. Any questions about this? It depends on how many notes you take. And once again, I'm not going to give you a number of notes to take. It's for you. All right. The more notes you take, the easier it is to do things later on, especially if you're writing down the numbers, because on these footnotes, you're going to have to write what page you got that from. That's why when you're taking notes, you're writing down what page you learned that note on. Right. Does that make sense? My notes for my college classes are filled with the page numbers, because when I had to go and write about what I read, it was so much easier to go back and find what page I got that from. Are there any other questions about this?